Good morning, everyone. It's October 8th, 2018. I was going to wrap up the videos until this afternoon, but I happened to stumble across this particular piece here at shtfplan.com. Outbreak in LA. Flea-borne typhus has reached epidemic levels. And this comes from Max Slavo. Now, I keep saying that the United States is slowly becoming a third world shithole, and this can be seen in all of the major cities. And disease is one of the things that come along with third world shitholes. An outbreak of typhus, which is a flea-borne disease, has struck downtown Los Angeles. The outbreak has been blamed on the skyrocketing number of homeless people in the area. According to the Los Angeles County Health Department, 20 cases of the rare flea-borne infectious disease, which is also associated with poor sanitary conditions and overcrowding, have been recorded in Pasadena alone over the past 2 months. Health officials now say that the outbreak has reached epidemic levels. There are several forms of typhus, also known as typhoid fever, which is a type of bacterial infection known as the species Rickettsia, I guess, and transmitted by biting bugs such as lice, ticks, mites, and rat fleas. Let me remind you that the bubonic plague was spread by rats and fleas too. When a person is diagnosed with typhus, it means they are infected with one or more types of the Rickettsia, and again, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, bacteria. After a bite occurs, scratching the itchy bite further opens the skin and allows the bacteria greater access to the bloodstream. Once in the bloodstream, the bacteria continue to reproduce and grow. And I'm really bad, if I have an itchy, I'm really bad about scratching it. I have no discipline when it comes to that. And I recently suffered some kind of outbreak. It's going away now. I've thrown everything I can think of at it, and it's finally, receding. But it was very disturbing for me, and I can't imagine getting one of these diseases. According to Healthline, typhus outbreaks usually only occur in developing countries or in regions of poverty, poor sanitation, and close human-to-human contact. Third world nations. Typhus is generally not a problem in the United States. However, the outbreak has been declared an epidemic in Los Angeles, a highly populated, deeply dense city with a surging homeless population. Americans used to only need concern themselves with catching the infection abroad, but all that is changing thanks to the socialism of California. Now, if it goes untreated, it can lead to serious complications, and it's potentially fatal. It's important to see your doctor if you suspect that you have typhus. Those homeless people cannot just go see a doctor. I'm not homeless, and I couldn't just go see a doctor. I went to the ER, and they gave me some sort of ridiculous diagnosis, which I knew was false, and the whole thing lasted 5 hours, but the actual contact with the doctor lasted less than 10. So these people can't just go and get looked at. It's not that simple when you are poverty-stricken. Symptoms vary slightly by the types of typhus. but there are symptoms that are associated with all three types, such as headache, fever, chills, and rash. In rare cases, typhus can cause meningitis or death. Long Beach has 12 cases so far this year, double the normal number, and there have been 9 other cases in the rest of the country. Nationwide, there are only about 200 cases of the disease in an average year, according to the CDC. But the surge in flea-borne typhus appears to have been in response to the number of people living on the streets and in shelters, which has surged 75% to about 55,000 in the last 6 years. There are a lot of rats on Skid Row, and there are a lot of dogs that belong to homeless people. So, this is an example of what happens in a liberal-ran city. Now, I'm not saying that conservatives are much better. Their solutions oftentimes includes shadow killing the homeless people, and that's just a matter of fact. So the conservative end isn't that much better. They're not really saving the people; they're killing them, and that's how they stop things like this. If you don't believe me, just look into the homeless disappearances and mysterious deaths, especially during natural disasters. You might recall a reporter last year interviewing a homeless man with a dog in Texas, where he talked about how they were just killing the homeless people. And people want to write it off as the ramblings of some insane homeless man, but I do not. I don't. So, officials in nearby Pasadena scoffed at the idea that the homeless are to blame for the typhus outbreak in their town. They point to warm summer and fall and residents' frequent interactions with animals in the wildlife and canyons of the nearby Los Angeles National Forest. So, even if it's not specifically being caused by the homeless, it's still a big fucking problem. And this problem is going to get bigger and bigger. The number of diseases are increasing and have been increasing. And eventually, there's going to be a massive pandemic. I think it will be something like Ebola or smallpox, or maybe even the Spanish flu, since our brilliant government put out its genome map on the internet. And any asshole with a little bit of money and knowledge can buy a CRISPR machine and create this fucking Spanish flu. So, I would be looking out for all the sicknesses to come, because you don't want to be stricken with them. As I said before, I would much rather deal with zombies, civil war, hell, even Yellowstone erupting than a pandemic. Because, you could run from Yellowstone, you can get the fuck out of here, but a pandemic can spread everywhere. Anyway, thought I would share this with you. Hope you all have a good day. Kill the state. Live free.